Welcome to the Naked Relationship Podcast. I'm Adam. Again, it's just me today. Kelley is still taking her break. She is dealing with a lot of stress and all of that not fun stuff that goes along with being a nurse during a pandemic, as well as a few other things. So it's just me today, but we've got a lot to cover, including Kelley's sister told her dad that we're swingers. So here we are. Again, my name's Adam, and you can follow us on social media at TNR Podcasts. If you haven't figured it out by now, we have a podcast where we talk about ethical non-monogamy and hot wifing, if you will, sugar daddy stuff for my wife that she partakes in, and swinging. So all things ethical non-monogamy, I guess. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe that's I don't know. I feel like that one's a bit more of a subjective viewpoint. But anyway, I'm Adam, and again, it's just me today. And so we are going to talk about altplayground.net first. Not only are they amazing, they are an amazing company, and they have an amazing sex-positive online dating website. So, and yes, they are fairly new to the national scale. They are continuing to scale up and make acquisitions and a lot more than just your plain old ass looking interface. They look really more modern. They are mobile friendly. They have a lot going on for them. You can also listen to our podcast, join a community with us and other podcasters, talk shit with us, and maybe even see some of our naughty bits. You never know. I mean, I understand you wouldn't want to see mine. My wife is on there sometimes, some of her photos. So you can also make it onto the big wall. But one thing that is very exciting is that altplayground.net has the new arrivals module on the website, and it has been on fire. So new members are joining across the country, resulting in many new connections made between lifestylers. Not just you and I, but new people joining the website. By the way, if you haven't joined the website, you can do a trial for $3.99. Fuck off. That is an amazing deal. You should totally do it. And also, while you're on there, check out all of the amazing growth and new opportunities for sex positive fun at altplayground.net. And so what we mean by that is not only can you listen to our podcast on there, not only can you join our community on there, but you can also join events and conferences and a bunch of other fun activities within the sex positive community, all on altplayground.net. Go check it out for $3.99 if you haven't already. And we hope that you enjoy it, because we do. We use it personally as well, aside from our podcast, and that's something that we pay for out of pocket to bring you the unbiased opinion. So check it out and tell us you love it, because if you tell us any other thing, we know you're going to be lying to us. All right, so we're going to get into our Twitter poll of the week before we get into talking about how Kelley's sister told her padre that we are swingers. So the Twitter poll of the week, if for those of you who don't follow us, you can follow us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, at TNR Podcasts, that's plural. And every week we do a Twitter poll. We talk about it here on the show. And this week's Twitter poll of the week is, have you been outed by your family for being ethically non-monogamous? Now, for those of you who have been outed or you outed yourselves, please drop a message to us on any platform, email, website, whatever. Let us know how that went. But for right now, the conversation is 85.3% no, that the voters have not been outed to their families for being ethically non-monogamous, and 14.7% said yes. So Jack's couple, a regular in our Twitter mentions, replied with, sort of, our oldest kid knows and my sister-in-law knows. Same, except for our kids are fur babies, so they know. They see things that, normal human kids should never see. St. Charles pair, they responded with, I told Lily the other day, I almost want to out us just so they stop asking so many damn questions. I hate lying to family. I totally understand that one. I really do. I think that that's a little bit difficult to do, because yes, they're going to stop asking so many damn questions, but I feel like they're probably going to ask a lot more, at least up front. Maybe not so much on the back end, because it'll be like, no, we don't really want to know. So Bed Hoppers responded with, does it count if we outed ourselves? And to which I responded, basically, yes, it does count. And Just Keep Swinging podcast, shout out to you. You said, then change my answer. We told our kids. There's someone in our swinger group that actually told their kids as well, which is very interesting, because that's not really something that I would have thought was a thing, but apparently it is a thing. And I guess that does make it easier, but then I don't know. We don't have human kids, so we are like just trying to think of the repercussions on that one specifically. I can't fathom that at this particular moment in time. I do think that, at first, I don't know. I can't imagine that one. I think that for us, when Kelley's sister, well, okay, so Kelley outed us to her sister really early on. They're best of friends, so it's only right, I guess, that she knows. I mean, Kelley's sister knows probably all of Kelley's sex life history from the beginning. So I don't know. It's very natural for her to tell her that. So I don't know. But like when she told her dad, he called me because Kelley was working, and like we were talking about some other things because Kelley's going through a lot, and I was trying to figure out how to approach a certain situation with Kelley or something along those lines, to which he responded with, I'll call you back later. So he did his own research and he called Kelley's sister, who then outed us and thought that that was a potential issue, or I don't know what the line of thinking was there. But he calls me back and was like, so I've done my own research and my other daughter said you're in an open relationship. And is that true? And I'm not going to lie to this man. 1, I like this man. 2, I married his daughter. 3, Kelley is an insanely, she's really close to her dad. She's a big daddy's girl. And I don't know, I just felt it would have been wrong to lie. I mean, he's not going to tell her mom, or Kelley's mom. Kelley's mom probably would just think it was a phase anyway. She doesn't understand a lot of things. She doesn't understand bisexuality. She thinks it's a phase, whatever. But I don't know. I think for me, that was a bit scary. And I was having to come up with all of these acronyms, or not acronyms, but metaphors or something, replacement words, to keep it super G-rated, because I know I wouldn't want to know about my kid's sex life. I mean, the most that I've seen is my dog getting deflowered at the dog park, losing her virginity from a guy named Jax, whose human parent I host another podcast with. And that was, wow, 2 years ago. That bitch is growing up fast. Anyway, so I'm not privy to that, but I can only imagine, because my dad specifically, I could tell him I saw a girl naked in the shower or whatever and be like, son, that's just TMI. My mom, on the other hand, I could call her and we have a different dynamic. I call her and was like, what's up, bitch? When she answers, to which she doesn't get offended anymore. She just says something along the lines of, what's happening or whatever. But I think she told me her throat was sore the other day. And I was like, Mom, I don't want to know about your deep throat skills. Something along those lines. And she started laughing and cracking up. But it's very different because my mom and dad are divorced. And so there's another person in each family because they've both remarried. But I don't know. I feel like if I told my dad, he would be like, fuck no, I don't want to know anything about that. But my mom, on the other hand, one of her ex-husbands, she claims was a swinger. But when I asked her about it, she really just said that he cheated. He was a serial cheater, which by our definition, how we define swinging, Kelley and I, that's not swinging, that's cheating. So she's very triggered maybe by that word, by that title. I don't know. It probably wouldn't go over very well if we told our family. I think that I don't know that I have any family that I could tell where I would really be comfortable with their reaction. But at the same time, it's our relationship. It's not theirs. And they really don't have an input. I mean, granted, it'd be nice if everyone got along great. It'd make for a lot better dynamics. But it's our relationship. And if it makes us happy, then we're going to continue to do it. And the moment that it becomes something that is a stressor in a negative way, or if it's something that we just really don't want to do, we're not going to do it. And that's part of the reason Kelley's not been on the show here in a little bit, because she's so stressed out from a lot of other things that doing the podcast feels more like a chore to her. Granted, it's still a fun thing to do, but for her, with her work schedule and my schedule, they never add up. And so when you couple that with all the other shit that she has going on, which we might talk about in another podcast when she gets back on the show, with everything going on with the podcast, I'm the one that does the majority of work. She's essentially just talent, but except for she also runs the Instagram and stuff. But just because it's become that way out of a necessity, out of a need, because of her schedule. But my point is, Kelley is too stressed out, and so this podcast isn't fun for her. She can't really do it right now. And so my overall point is, the moment something stops becoming fun and it starts becoming unhealthy, or or it starts becoming unfun or just like a chore or whatever, I don't want you to do anything you don't want to do. And whether that's swinging, whether that's your job, whether that's being in a relationship with me, whatever it is, I don't want you to do it. Even for you fans, if something on the podcast is bothering you so much so that it becomes something that you don't enjoy listening to, don't do it out of habit. Just don't do it at all. And the fact that I was able to portray that to Kelley's dad, it helped. He understands that we're doing it in the right way. We're not cheating. We're doing it ethically. We're doing it because it makes us happy and for the right reasons. He doesn't agree with it because he is from like most people, a monogamous background. But he also said he's not going to judge. So that is pretty nice. That whole conversation like scared the shit out of me. I was like, oh, fuck. How do I get out of this one? Like, I have no fucking clue. But just being honest with him, using code words to avoid saying, yeah, I was fucking this girl or blowing this guy, and Kelley was sucking this guy's cock. Like, that's not really something that I would have enjoyed to tell my father-in-law. But anyway, so yes, we did get outed. And luckily, we had couples therapy that weekend because it was well needed for a number of reasons. But it was a day that actually it wasn't couples therapy. It was Kelley's individual session that I sat in on out of necessity because she needed me to include certain topics to talk about. Yeah, I don't know. That whole thing was just kind of because Kelley wanted to tell her dad by herself instead of someone else doing it for her. She never really knew when she'd be ready to tell her dad, but unfortunately someone did it for her. So Kelley has since had a conversation with her sister saying, yo, bish, don't be doing that. Don't be telling my story. Anyway, but yeah, so that is the story of how we got outed, as well as our Twitter poll of the week. They unintentionally combined into one long segment, but here we are. So next up will be our break. So for those of you who are not longtime listeners, Kelley and I take lifestyle breaks typically every 3 months. We didn't take one immediately this schedule time like we normally would have. We typically do them for about a month, but sometimes they go a lot longer than that. Sometimes they go up to like 8 months. But the reason for this is to learn from our experience, grow closer together, and then also set new boundaries or kind of just reminisce, but also learn from. So it's almost like watching game film, if you will. And so that's the reason we take breaks. And we were supposed to start one October 1st, and we didn't because we were both in like a sexually heightened state where I was in the middle. Well, I was talking to a girl that was more than likely going to end up being a longtime friends with benefits, and that turned out to be exactly what happened. And Kelley was also kind of in a very similar situation, not necessarily a longtime friend with benefits, but just doing all of her playful activities and stuff like that. So we didn't start our break on time. And November came, we were planning on, reevaluating everything then, and we just didn't feel like starting it right then. So finally, about a week ago, we started our break. And the reason for starting it now is just because all the stress that Kelley is under, just everything going on, it just didn't feel right. And I mean, it got to the point where I had a regular thing with a friend and she was just struggling to get any attention from anyone, it seems like. And so the roles reversed, she got pretty jealous. And so from there, it was just, you couple that with like her sexual frustration with not being able to play with anyone other than me, of course, because she needs variety. That is a need for her. But then when you couple that with all the work stress and all the personal stuff going on, I ended up canceling on my play date last week, who you guys might remember her name, I believe I used was Anne from that couple that we all kind of met up last week's episode and got the hotel room together. And it was supposed to be a vanilla event, but our friend found out that we were swingers that night. And so I ended up playing with her, or I was supposed to, but given everything that Kelley was going through, it kind of seemed like it was going to reach a boiling point. And out of respect for everything going on, it just seemed like the best option was just to cancel the play date and start our break. And so here we are. We are still talking to our friends, but we are not engaging in sexual activities. There is a party planned for tonight, I believe, or tomorrow night with the swinger group that we're in, and we're not going to make it because of Kelley. And so I don't feel right about that. And We got to put ourselves first. We got to put our relationship first, but more importantly, we got to put each other first. And Kelley is going through a lot right now. Anyway, that's going to do it for this week's episode. Don't forget to check out altplayground.net. You can also buy our merch at fullswapshop.com. And what's amazing about that is that we have a discount code for you. So when you go to fullswapshop.com and you use the code doorbuster at checkout, you will get 20% off your order. Even more of an incentive to buy some of our merch. And if you want to, send us a picture of you wearing it, modeling it, whatever. And with your consent, you'll have a chance to be featured on our social media. So check out fullswapshop.com, get your merch, show us how much you really don't like us. And yeah, let us know if you like the merch. If there's anything you want us to get, let us know and we will try to accommodate your need. Also, be on the lookout for our Twitter poll of the week. You can follow us on all social media platforms at TNR Podcasts. That is plural. And watch for us on the Twitter poll of the week. Send Kelley a message on Instagram if you so choose. For those of you who have, thank you so much. Kelley appreciates all of it. So with that being said, how about them Seahawks, and have a good night.